The vice president has a long history, a well-documented history of really being an ally to these immigrant communities. She has 2 chapters in her book, I Say We Fight and We Are Better Than This, where she really makes a robust case for undocumented immigrants. During the Trump administration, she talked about a climate of fear. She dismissed the border wall as ineffective and a waste of resources. And even her guest at the joint session of Congress was a DACA recipient, was a dreamer. And so for her to go down there and characterize herself as tough on the border, to me, it isn't consistent with a lot of the policy positions that she previously has espoused.
Implemented nationwide catch and release. I had catch and release, but I catch and release in Mexico. We catch and release into the United States, never to see these people again until they murder somebody.
Hello, everybody. I'm KJ, and it is Pop and Politics. Of course, let me introduce you to my amazing co-hosts. We have Yana.
Hello.
And back tonight, we have Shelly.
I missed you guys.
Yes. And that clip that we showed at the top of the show, we're going to talk about how the next several weeks up until election, we need to talk about how Kamala Harris is not to be trusted. She has flip-flopped on issue after issue after issue, and she is not to be trusted because we don't know where she stands. All right, so before we get into it again, this is Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We're on YouTube and Rumble, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Here on YouTube, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people. And we understand the value of freedom. So join us in this rallying call. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So I want to get right into this. You saw at the top of the show, the clip we showed, that was a reporter just talking about how Kamala Harris has flipped on the border. And we wanted to contrast that on the interview Trump actually did, I believe it was yesterday or today, talking about how he wants to restore sovereignty to our border. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that whole exchange?
Look, you said we don't know where Kamala Harris stands. Frankly, we don't know where she stands. We don't know where she sits. We don't know where she shits. And I don't really need to know that. But the point is that we really know nothing except that she has flipped and flopped from 3-4 years ago. And the media are constantly covering for her. That's what they're doing. They are making her out to be this maverick, candidate with all of these brilliant ideas that she doesn't have. She has, what's her common phrase? Dreams and aspirations and ambitions, and everything is so joyful. The media are really the ones who are stealing this election. That's what they've been doing ever since Trump came down that gold escalator. They have been on 100% exponentially. They are stealing this election.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here, Yana?
Well, Kamala, she's unpredictable. She's a fox.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not the smartest of the foxes because she is so transparently, obviously not very smart. So it's so obvious how she flip-flopped on the issues, just like in that exchange that we just saw. She was supporting all these dreamers and immigrants and illegal immigrants, and then all of a sudden now she's trying to sound like she's tough on the border. She's just saying that right now because she has to, because someone told her that she has to do that in order to win certain voters. But it's too obvious. She always been following this ambition, but it's just to get in the place where she wants to be. It's just she wants the status.
She wants the power.
Right.
She wants the power. Yeah. I mean, it's actually pretty scary because she doesn't even believe in the systems that we have in place. For instance, with this filibuster, she's been back and forth on this. First, she was back in 2022. She was a tie-breaking vote in the Senate. So we've seen her go from the filibuster must be a cherished vote to save the Senate as an institution to now, if she's president, she wants to get rid of it. So again, she's doing these things not because she believes that the filibuster should stay or go. It just depends on who's in power.
Exactly.
And which way it will help her continue to rise and keep that power. So when you think about it, if that's the case, she doesn't care about our Constitution. She doesn't care about sovereignty of our borders and protecting our borders. She doesn't care about enforcing the laws on the books as far as crime and things like that, unless it will help her in her endeavors in her Democrat Party stay in power. This is dangerous.
It's power, and control. That's all they want. And this is what I don't understand it. To a degree I do. But I don't understand why many people in the American public, they seem to only think that these rules, if you will, or these principles, that the right, we are the ones who are perpetrating the fraud. I mean, this is how the media works. This is how effective they have been. And this is why I'm going to repeat what Marge Teray calls media, MEDIA, the most effective devil in America. That's what the media, all over this is the media. Kamala Harris would not be a VP, nor would she be a candidate, no less, for president if the media are not pumping her up, covering for her, not demanding anything. She's taking all of these softball interviews, with Oprah, and I think she has one coming up with Stephanie Ruhle, and all of these interviews. She still has not given a press conference since she announced, since she was selected to be a presidential candidate. She still has not taken hard questions. She has not gone to any opposition, if you will, piece of media or questioning to question her on her policies. No one has done it. Not those little soft interviews with Dana Bash or David Muir and Lindsay Davis, whatever her name is. She has not done it, and she's not going to. She is not going to be demanded to do so because, again, the media and the Democratic Party are trying their best to steal this election. And I will tell you this, America, if the election remains as close as it is on election day with a 2 to 3% margin of really the independent voters where it's going to sway it, if it's too close, they are still going to cheat.
Yeah, I do want to acknowledge our super chatter here. Yes, with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, congrats on 100,000 subs. Woo-hoo. You ladies are the best show on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Everybody, yes, we got 100,000
subscribers.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for riding with us. This has been a journey. We have a long way to go. Again, as I always say in the beginning, we are true Americans. We believe in truth seeking. We believe in God, and we believe in freedom. And so this is what we've been about from day one. We really appreciate you guys supporting us as you have been. Ladies, what do you have to say? I mean, this is just amazing.
Say, woohoo! This calls for a party. I'm so glad to be back with you all. I really have missed you all. So hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Keep the subs coming. We're at 100K. We're going for 200.
Yes. Yeah. Road to 200 now.
Thank you for subscribing and thank you for sharing. I think that's really important because that's how we grow. And every time I say connect with other people, build your own community. So if you like our videos, please share them. We really appreciate that. And America appreciates it.
Yes. Absolutely. Shantia Frazier with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, sis. Congratulations on 100,000 subs. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate you. All right. So I want to keep this going. And just to return to something you said, Shelley, and we all have been saying about how the Democrats and specifically Kamala Harris do not support our institutions unless it's something to better their situation, unless it's going to give them more power and things like that. And this moves us to what we see them doing against Trump.
Oh my
gosh, this is so dangerous. And I want to talk about how they released this chilling letter penned by would-be assassin Ryan Wesley Routh on Monday, calling the decision rash and serving no purpose. This is what a former Attorney General William Barr said. Take a look at this. This is clip 1.
Donald Trump was closer to death on September 15th than we thought. In a new federal court filing, we learned that Routh had been staking out Trump at Mar-a-Lago and at his golf course for weeks. Even more chilling, investigators who sacked the sniper's nest found the rifle with the scratched-off serial number had a bullet in the chamber. And when the feds caught Routh, they found 2 sets of license plates and 6 cell phones in his car, one of which Googled an escape route from Palm Beach to Mexico. So why did Routh have so many phones, and where did he get the fake plates? We're also learning about a strange box the feds claim that Routh gave to a mysterious civilian witness months before he tried to take out Trump. The feds say this box contained 4 cell phones, ammo, tools, metal material, and some pipe, and a series of handwritten letters. The FBI released a photo of what they say is the first page of Routh's letter. The FBI says this witness took a picture of the first page of the letter and sent it to the FBI 3 days after Routh was assassinated. And the FBI is using this picture from a mysterious witness of a letter that we don't even know if they have custody of in a federal court filing. So in this purported letter, the FBI says Routh was motivated to kill Trump because he believed the former president was unfit and destructive to America's moral fabric. Does that sound familiar? Routh's letter purportedly says that he failed to assassinate Donald Trump, and that he was offering $150,000 to anyone who could finish the job. So the Biden administration just released the Assassin's Manifesto that put a $150,000 bounty on Trump's head and called him unfit to serve, the same language Biden's used. The FBI wouldn't release the Nashville trans school shooters manifesto because they said at the time they didn't want to inspire more violence. But they published this guy's manifesto? And why'd they only cherry pick the first page? What else is in these letters? Law enforcement tells us publishing Routh's letter is basically giving the public a blueprint for the next assassination. And who the hell is this mysterious witness? Is he in custody? He sounds like a co-conspirator. And what kind of witness, you get a box from someone and you don't open it? Was he following instructions? And then he didn't give it to the feds until 3 days after the assassination attempt? And why is Routh writing letters assuming he didn't finish the job? And does the FBI even have custody of this letter, or did they just take a screen grab from a mysterious witness and submit it to the court?
Yeah. Jesse had several questions that I had when I heard the story. Particularly, he wrote the sentence and the grammar, the structure in which he wrote was thinking like, oh, I'm going to pass this on in case I don't finish. But this is something else we don't know. They released this letter supposedly written by him or whatever this box is. But this is some things we still don't know. We can't find out who the Nashville shooter is and what the manifesto is. We haven't found it out yet, right? We still don't know who leaked the SCOTUS draft opinions in, I think, 2022. We still don't know who left the cocaine in the White House, right? We still don't know that. We still don't know where Biden is and who is running the White House and executive branch, but they can release this letter supposedly by this man or whomever this would-be assassin is. They can release this letter, and like Jesse says, they cherry-picked it. We don't release the whole thing. Why didn't they take pictures of the box? Why is it just coming out now? What, almost 3 weeks or something later, right? Why is it just coming out now? Why is this box sent to them however long ago they supposedly have gotten or received it? And now there's so many unknowns, which makes for conspiracy. But nevertheless, the bottom line is they released to me what I'm calling, because I haven't seen the whole letter, but I'm calling the most salacious part that will entice, using their rhetoric, because rhetoric makes you people violent, right? They are going to release this part of the letter. Why? Because they want Trump dead. We've been saying it for a few years. They want Donald J. Trump in his grave. They want to assassinate this man. Why? Because they know, to them, he's dangerous. Why? Because he's protecting our rights. He's protecting our Constitution. That doesn't mean Trump is perfect. By far is he perfect. Nevertheless, they know exactly what they're doing. The deep state, when I say the deep state, people in our government that we technically are paying their salaries are literally working against Americans. That's what they're doing by means of murdering, assassinating Donald Trump. They are telling the United States, American people, this is what they're telling us.
Wow. I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. Before we do, I wanted to acknowledge another super chatter.
Thanks, Blanca.
Yes, Blanca. Blanca with the $5 super chat says, I need to buy food or I would give more. Oh, we appreciate you, Blanca. Certainly appreciate you. Thank you. What were your thoughts on that, Yana?
Well, I mean, I totally agree with what's going on. Trump has mentioned many times that he wants to drain the swamp. He wants to go after the deep state. He wants to get rid of these institutions that just control our government, and people don't change there. It's the same people, administration after the administration. So they do want to get rid of him. And it's obvious that they want to use someone who is unstable, unhinged, like this would-be assassin. They can use people like that. Yeah. They could give them the guidance, the tools, and this has been done with terrorists like around the world. They'll go to, the CIA will go to another country and they will basically have, for example, Islamic terrorists. People will think it's Islamic terrorism. I mean, it is, but there's who knows who else is sponsoring. Right. Like that deep state is actually sponsoring and enticing them to do what they do. So that's what it seems like to me.
Right. So my question is to all of this, why? I think I know the reason, but I mean, why are they going to such lengths to get Trump out of the candidacy and to keep him out of the White House? Why?
We said it, power and control. Now, again, most of the time when people think, you're doing something to somebody because you want something, we think of in terms of tangibles, material things, whatever, I don't know, a new car, money, whatever the case may be, clothing. We want to actually steal something from them, rob them from their purse or their car. But power and control, as intangible as they are extremely, to repeat myself, powerful. It gives you the leverage, the wherewithal, the control over other people's lives. When you see people as a means to your own ends, you tend to not do so for good reasons.
But why? I mean, but we've had Democrat, Republican, different people in the White House, of course, every 4 years, some every 8 years. But why is it now that they feel like they have to keep Trump from out of the White House? What is different about him than, Bush or...
He calls them out.
But yeah, because I think he does not want to play by their rules. Right. And all these other leaders have played by their rules. They were afraid. And it seems like he is not afraid. Right. So they're afraid of him. and talking about power and control. So in the Soviet Union, when Stalin was in power, lots of people were dying in his circle and also outside of his circle. Anyone who had any kind of information or even thoughts against the leadership.
Right.
So that's, to me, that's a parallel to that. They're dictators in power.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, we have another super chatter here. Thank you so much. Yes, it's Terry Panther with the $5 super chat, and he's also part of our Freedom Seekers Club. So thank you for being a member of Freedom Seekers. Guys, if you haven't done so already, definitely check out our Freedom Seekers Club. You get member perks, such as you get free emojis, fun, cool emojis. You also get behind the scenes videos that we only post for our members, and a lot of other different things. So definitely join our Freedom Seekers Club.
You get to see us acting goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Terry says Kamala is not black and DL is weak embarrassment to black men. Oh, well, we know that. I encourage you, DL Hughley.
Yeah, Hughley. Oh.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to check out Candace Owens' show today and yesterday. She does a deep dive into Kamala Harris's ancestry, and it is mind-blowing. It looks like she has been lying for a long time, Kamala Harris. So she's not black, and she's actually more like Calvin Candy on Django. She owned, her ancestors owned thousands of slaves, and she is the present day Candyland of the slave trade. So, but you know what? It's not even a big deal. Like, we as conservatives we're not playing identity politics. We don't really care who she is or what ethnicity she is. She has chosen to make this a centerpiece of her campaign, not just her, but the whole Democrat Party. And it looks like she's been lying.
I mean, that is really, it's so funny to me that, like, that explains why she's so fake and so uncomfortable whenever she speaks and whenever she speaks about race, because I'm pretty sure she knows this information and she's terrified that it will come out. That's her ancestry. Because it's one thing that you acknowledge your ancestry and you say, look, I'm not my ancestors. I'm my own person. I live now. It doesn't really matter who, what they did back then. So, I have my own principles. But for the leftists, it's like they identify so much with that. It's like, that's why she behaves the way that she behaves in such a fake manner.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. I mean, when Rachel Dolezal said that she was black, I guess she darkened her skin. It was a big deal. She was, what do you call it? I forget the word they use. Cultural appropriation, right? Black people said, she couldn't do that, and that was racist. But now you have this woman. Again, I don't care what her ethnicity is. I don't care what her skin color is. I think it's a stupid argument, but it works. It has worked for the Democratic Party since the KKK, since Jim Crow, since segregation. It has worked. So they use, to their credit, they use what works. If something is working, why change it?
Yeah. Well, we want to know. I have another super chat to acknowledge. Thank you guys so much. LAPD SWAT with the $5 super chat says the Summit of the Future UN conference ended today. You may want to check it. Disturbing.
It has been on. Yeah, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely look into that for Friday's show. But I mean, speaking of that, I want to do a deep dive into Marxism and communism, actually. So I know you guys know we've mentioned multiple times on this show the 45 communist goals. They were put out in 1963. Congressman Albert S. Herlong Jr. from Florida read the list of 45 communist goals for America into the congressional record. The purpose of him reading this was to gain insight into liberal elite ideas and strategies for America that sound awfully familiar today. So we know that this was the goal back in 1963. I think it was actually, they did this in 1943, I believe. and they put it out in 1963. But the Communist Party has been infiltrating America for many, many years. This is a long thought out journey, or agenda, I should say, that they have planned for our country. And folks, it is happening right before our eyes. I want to go through just a couple of these, bring you guys a couple of these so you can understand this is an agenda. This is all by design. And we need to know what's going on and call this out in order to fight back against it. Before I start on this, I want to acknowledge another super chatter here. Kofi19 says, with the $9.99 super chat, says, what makes Trump so different that they want him gone is that he could potentially inspire future non-swampers to run for office and disrupt the plans they've had in place for decades.
Absolutely. That's that down ballot, ballot thing. We have to vote up and down the ballot. We do.
Yeah.
Because we need, like I said, he is not afraid. So we need that one leader who's going to open the door for everyone. And he has been doing that. So the deep state is terrified.
Yeah, they certainly are. So a couple of things. Again, this is a list of 45 goals. We're not going to go through everything. But guys, this is something you need to share when these goals you need to share with your family, friends on your timelines, because this is the blueprint of what we're seeing now and then what they have intended for us in the future. So one of the first ones I want to start off with is the number 15, to capture one or both of political parties in the U.S.
Check.
Yeah, it's done.
Check.
Yeah. I mean, and we are all Republicans, but it's within the Republican Party as well.
Absolutely.
They just infiltrated a different way.
Absolutely. We see Republicans, they're wavering. They don't know what their goals are, or what the Republican Party stands for. I'm saying we collectively, we can fight against something, but we really don't do a good job of clarifying what we actually stand for. And to our elected leaders in Congress and Senate, state level, federal level, certainly, we see all this wavering. Look at right now, this government budget playoff or whatever, right? This battle. How long have we been going through this? Every year, we can't even get a budget passed, and then it wavers, we're spending too much, and then there comes this negotiation, and we wind up spending even more. Right. So even on the Republicans, and certainly on the Democratic side, the Republicans have been bought and sold by this agenda.
Yeah, I want to go through 17 and 19 as well. Get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, get control of teachers' associations, put the party line in textbooks. And then number 19 is they use student riots to foment public protests against programs or organizations that are under communist attack. We saw all of this.
Check.
Yeah, it's very disturbing going through these goals, because most of them have been achieved.
Absolutely.
It's really, really scary. And get control of the schools. Yes. So they took control of most of higher institutions like colleges, but also schools. So there's obviously no religion in public schools. If you look at textbooks, there's a lot of these Marxism in there. Now we have the CRT and all this equity agenda. All of that is part of a communist agenda, and it's being promoted as something benevolent.
Exactly.
Right. And we saw this just in Florida. I mean, the whole back and forth with DeSantis and this African-American studies course that the BLM and the left was trying to push. He was saying he did not have anything against pushing African-American history, but when you went into the actual course, which we did a show on, we read the course, and it clearly showed they were pushing CRT. They were pushing gender theory and all types of stuff in what was supposed to be an African-American history course.
Right.
Even something that I'm saying simple, not meaning that it's unimportant, even something as simple as our public school system in general, where we have many students, I think it was in Maryland or even a national poll I heard today, 20% or more, up to a quarter of students are below grade level in math. So we don't have enough parents even causing an uproar, if you will, starting the rightful or righteous protest that your children are not even being educated at grade level. So that's a lot of acceptance. It's like, oh, well, we'll keep sending them to school. We'll keep, taking the debate that we need more money. We need more money. Classrooms are still getting larger. Teachers are getting more money. The unions are getting more money, but our children are getting dumber.
Yeah, and we have a super chatter here, another super chatter. Thank you so much. Steven says Yana is so sexy when she spits. What?
Those fire facts.
Those fire facts. Oh, wow. Yes, nice. All right. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. They really go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. We certainly appreciate you guys' support so much. You don't realize how much it means to us. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I want to move on to just two other things here. Number 20 on this list and number 21. 20 is to infiltrate the press, get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy making positions. And 21 goes right along with it, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures.
Checkmate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have seen that in the film that we watched about Ronald Reagan.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So that was going on already in his time. I mean, that's when the Soviet Union still existed, is that they go into these influential groups such as the actors. And now, so we have actors being activists, and it's still the case. I mean, they're very much and they're always promoting the left.
Right.
The media are very much activists as well. And another thing about this list, and it just dawned on me, this came out in 1963 for the Congressional Record. That was the same year that prayer was removed from school in the case. So Madeline Mary O'Hare,
Right here in Maryland.
Yeah, she took that case to the Supreme Court, and prayer was removed from school based on the separation of church and state. So again, this pivotal time, particularly in the 60s, baby boomers, the civil rights, all of these huge, momentous social, cultural impacts happened a lot at that time, and we are still living the ramifications.
Because that's one of the goals, number 28, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. So they dug up this idea of the separation of church and state that actually was not in it's not in the Constitution. It's not really a fundamental idea of the United States. It was, the reason for that was because there's no one particular religion, such as Catholicism or Anglicanism is not one religion in America. However, this is what they brought up in order to justify this total separation. But now we have, what do we have as schools? We have
chaos.
We have promiscuity. We have children dressing up as animals, pretending to be animals. It's total chaos.
Yeah. And also part of that number 21, to infiltrate the press and gain control of key positions within the press, TV, radio. We see this breaking news out this week. Leftist billionaire and Democratic mega donor George Soros has been leaning on the Democrat-controlled FCC for months in hopes of fast-tracking his group's acquisition of over 200 radio stations in over 40 markets, including stations that run shows like Glenn Beck, Mark Levine, Eric Erickson, Sean Hannity, and the list goes on. On Wednesday, which I believe is today, the FCC reportedly adopted an order to approve the purchase, meaning that in a matter of days, George Soros will likely take control of communications to over 165 million Americans with the help of unvetted foreign investors whom Democrats have spared from the FCC's customary national security review process. This is the agenda, and they have gone with it.
Right.
Right. And then then here in Baltimore, we have David Smith, who is owner of Sinclair Broadcasting, which has this radio station, Fox 45. And the leftist people here, leftists in government, Democrat control, it drives them crazy to have an independent news station, the only one. And they go after him tooth and nail, trying to get him out of the news station business, discounting the stories that he puts out and all kinds of things, when most of the news here in Baltimore is to the left.
Right. What I think many of us may not understand, and I'm not saying I understand it fully, but many of the media stations, radio, TV, things like that, they are privately owned, but there's so many layers and hidden ownership and I don't know, whatever you want to call equity or whatever. So they can sell their shares and people can buy this and buy a part of this. So then they can get bigger conglomerates, if you will. So all of this inner workings, then you have Soros who comes in and he wants to buy markets that have been sold over and over again. You don't know whose hands they may be in. So this information could be privately held, whatever the case may be. But the point is that we are getting fed all of this information, and we as Americans need to do a better job of vetting it, right? Conservative media, maybe we don't do a good enough job of investing and taking stock in our own fields, if you will.
Right. And I just wanted to add that there's also some of the other goals are really disturbing as well. And that's kind of like what you were saying, that people need to be discerning about what they're watching, what they're listening to, even when it's not news, if it's just like entertainment, because like we were saying, they infiltrate every aspect of media. So for example, 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. So that is something also to be discerning, because people, we kind of don't think about it. We might just be, I don't know, enjoying the show or something. But we're not realizing that it's infiltrating our minds and our souls. Like one of the examples was a long time ago, there was this movie and the play going around, Mamma Mia. And, it was really fun. People enjoyed it. But if you really look into it, you can see the agenda. You know what they're promoting. It's not traditional.
What makes it more egregious and I don't know, more degenerate, if you can do that, if you can say that, children. When this is promoted to children as normal, children whose minds and brains are not fully developed. Remember, children can get abortions when they're 14 and 13. They can tell you their minds are not fully developed, but they can make those kinds of choices, right? And that's okay on the left, on the media, with a lot of this media and propaganda. But when children are corrupted, what do they grow up to be? Especially when they don't have a normality or normalcy. They don't have a sense of morality, right or wrong. They don't have a sense of God says it's wrong and it's evil to do X, Y, Z.
And this agenda is in the children's movies, children cartoons.
Right. And that's the scary thing about this all, because these are agenda and motives and things that they're putting in place through the government and through our systems and things like that. Our institutions have they're codifying these things within those. Infiltrate the churches, number 27, and replace revealed religion with social religion. I mean, guys, we see this.
Hallelujah.
Discredit
Is there such a thing as double checkmate in church?
No. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. Number 28, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. You said that. I'm sorry. And then 29, discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. We just saw this last week. I forget who somebody was pushing that the Constitution was an old document.
They said it on the left. But, and keep in mind too, those two gender you just read items, keep in mind that our Constitution prohibits the government from establishing a religion. It prohibits the government from limiting our speech. So if the Constitution is old and doesn't matter, this is what they want to do. You have to get rid of number one first, because then all the rest of them will fall. So if you say that church and state, there's a separation of church and state, no, it prohibits the government. People can do what they want, within means or whatever. We can make up and we can say, no, I don't want to pray that prayer here, or I don't want to pray it in school because I choose to, not because the government says you can or cannot. That's not the place of the purview of the government. So if you get rid of the Constitution, then that goes out the window. And that means the government can say, hey, I can make it up as I go. And because I'm the government, because I have the power, because I'm in charge, then you all peons have to follow what I say.
Yeah, I do want to acknowledge our super chat here, guys. Thank you so much. With the $5 super chat says, love you ladies, keep up the good words. We need you all. Thank you so much. And also Kung Fu CJ,
thank you,
with the $5 super chat. And he's actually also a member of the Freedom Seekers Club, says they want us to worship the government. Government is God. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, no, if I was just going to go to another goals.
I was going to go ahead.
Number 30, discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. I've been hearing this over and over from the young people. They were just old white men,
rich racists.
They're just racist.
Slaveholders.
Exactly. That's all. That's how, unfortunately, the new generation sees the founding fathers. So they have, this is scary.
Yeah. It certainly is. And there's a couple other ones I wanted to get to, but you guys have to read this list. But two of the most important ones: discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. This stuff is happening. Number 41, emphasize the need to raise children away from negative influence of parents, attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents.
Translation: parents are the enemy of their own children.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
We're seeing this, guys. We're seeing this all over the country, in California, in Minnesota, where the vice president hails from. He has pushed a bill that actually is in law now that separates parents from children if they do not affirm their transgender identity.
And add to that, KJ, that bill also allows parents or children from other states, not even in Minnesota, as wrong as that is, but you can bring your child from another state. Not only you, any person that wants to claim that you are unfit as a parent because you're not acknowledging your child, your 5-year-old or your 6-year-old, saying, no, mommy, I'm a boy, or no, mommy, I'm a girl, when you know you gave birth to one sex versus the other, right? So anybody can come along, a teacher, a friend, whomever, and say, take you to Minnesota and say, oh, this child's parents will not affirm his or her gender, whatever that child says it is.
And one thing about Marxists is that they think that they're very intellectual. They don't believe in God. So one thing about Marxism, there is no God. It's all material. And they elevate psychiatrists and psychology. And I'm not saying that there's no place for psychology, but at the same time, they're putting these so-called medical professionals above everything else, above tradition, above family, above God. And they have done that in communist countries where they tried to take over the society. Like in the Soviet Union, they removed like people from native populations from their families and put them in institutions. And so that's what they want to do here. But I just want to say also, unfortunately, Russia was taken over by communists at some point. It's no longer communist. So I'm from Russia, and when you read these, and might seem like, Russia is, because there's words that's like it mentions in here, but that's not the case anymore over there. However, communists are literally in every country, and we need to be vigilant of them wherever you are.
Yeah, guys, I wanted to just bring this to you. Again, this is the 45 Communist Goals for America. We wanted to bring this to you because this is happening, guys. This was an agenda that they had from the very beginning, all the way back in 1943, and we are seeing it play out. But we see the left and the elites say, we're looking into it. This isn't happening. This is nonsense. There's no there. Guys, there was an agenda. We can see it happening. It's happening. It is the truth. So don't let them tell you it's not happening. I want to acknowledge our super chatter here. Yes. Says that with the $5 super chat says they hate the Constitution because it blocks them. Obama admitted this on live TV. Remember, the Second Amendment protects the other amendments. Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
And speaking of,
what they want to do is they want to equalize everyone, the whole world.
Make us all equally poor.
Yeah. So America has always been this, was a house on the hill. And so they want to destroy America. So then there is no, one country, is elevated in some way. No, everyone is kind of equally mediocre.
We're equally up the creek.
And that brings us to the next topic, Stephanie Ruhle. So I believe it's tonight. Stephanie Ruhle is set to interview Kamala Harris in a pre-recorded interview on a sit down with MSNBC. This was I think this is the first sit down she's done with a major news network since she has been installed. But this Stephanie Ruhle is part of kind of this communist agenda, like we mentioned. She believes in not asking her tough questions. Take a look at this. This is her talking to Bill Maher about what she believes the position or role that the media should play when interviewing Kamala Harris. This is clip number 4.
What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, co-founder of Metro Conservative Media and one of the producers of Poppin' Politics. I just want to give a big shout out to the ladies of Poppin' Politics for hitting 100K. Go ahead and make sure you join the Freedom Seekers membership. This train is just starting, and remember just to be aware and prepare.
It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote for her.
Harris is not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have 2 choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know.
So it's unclear to me how there could be an informed...
The problem that a lot of people have with Kamala is we don't know her answer to anything, okay?
But you know his answer to everything.
And that's why I would never vote for him, and people shouldn't vote for him. But people also are expected to have some idea of what the program is of the person you're supposed to vote for. You're just not supposed to say, well, you have to vote for Y because X is this, that, and the other. Let's find out a little bit more. And I don't think it's a lot to ask her to sit down for a real interview as opposed to a puff piece in which she describes like her feelings of growing up in Oakland with nice lawns.
Then I would just say to that, when you move to Nirvana, give me your real estate broker's number and I'll be your next door neighbor. We don't live there.
Wow. So she feels like it's her responsibility as a media pundit or a journalist to just not ask the question because we, the public, may not like the answer. This is crazy. Shelley.
This is a bunch of BS. That's what it is, okay? She's not a journalist, if you will. She might be one professionally, or her license may say journalist, but she is an advocate. She's a sycophant. She is a butt kisser, if you will. This is not journalism. This is, again, Marge Saray, the most effective devil in America. This is a fan. This is a chorus for Kamala Harris. Why would a journalist take a private, pre-recorded interview, particularly in the middle of a high-stakes election? Why not? And you know it's going to be edited. We're only going to see the parts that make Kamala Harris look like she's from a middle-class background, you know, and she was raised by the babysitter and she loves business owners or small business owners. We're not going to have anything substantive. This is a bunch of propaganda. And let me say something. Trump is a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy. You know why? He's a threat to the tyranny of the majority. Mm-hmm. He's a threat to their version of mob rule. So in that aspect, she's absolutely right. And this is why they have to keep covering for Kamala Harris, or what's her name today? Kamala, or whatever it is. They have to keep covering for her. They have to keep presenting her as if she's this, you know, this nuance and this new way forward. Kamala Harris is, this whole interview is full of it. Unfortunately, we have to watch it to know what they're putting forth so that we can refute it. But this is a bunch of BS.
It's Mamala. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So this is amazing. Yeah. Like that, it's so infuriating. And I'm always, you know, thinking about, you know, educating the young minds. Let's say, imagine you know, college, like high school or college students learning how to be informed voters. Mm-hmm. And they're watching a lady like this who is saying, look, it doesn't matter what your candidate stands for. It matters what we're voting against. This is like, you're gonna get an F. Like if you are a student in the class where a teacher is trying to teach how to be an informed voter and you're like, it doesn't matter, you know, as long as I don't like the other guy, I'm just not gonna even research what my candidate stands for. It's ridiculous.
The audacity that they would say something like that. They not only the audacity, but they say it with boldness. Right. You know, they are proud of what they're saying to the American public for a crucial, consequential election, no less. You have people, journalists, whomever, telling the American public that you don't need to know what one candidate thinks or what their proposals may be, what their policies. You don't need to know that, Americans. You need to just get your ass in that booth and pull down that lever. You know, I mean, our grandparents and ancestors would probably, they may be rolling in their graves. They probably would have, I don't know, maybe rioted, certainly protested, to have a politician, a media person come out and tell them that for as much as they fought for the right to vote, to read no less, and to be informed. And you have someone, I mean, not only is it embarrassing, it's condescending.
Yeah, it is. I want to acknowledge a super chatter here. We do have another super chatter. Thank you so much. Michelle with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And this brings us to the next topic. Guys, I mean, the way that they do this is if you if you question it, you know, if you question any of this, like we are, you question Kamala Harris on her policies, you question the media about not asking her questions, they call you racist. And this takes us to this next clip. Michael Eric Dyson on The View talking about white women. Clip 5.
The point is that this woman has now depended upon, like her inspiration, Donald Trump, a racist trope. Yeah. The black brute seeks the innocent white woman, now I'm seeking lasciviously to approach her. I didn't call her names. I acknowledge her humanity. And I'll say one final thing to all of these white Christians, and she's one of them. The Bible says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn their face to God and turn away from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and then I will forgive their sins and I will heal the land. Right. They have not forgiven themselves. White Christians hate themselves for the past wrongs that have been done. And I'm here as a loving Christian to say, let's grapple with that past, acknowledge the historic legacy of supremacy. Don't deny it. Don't erase it. Don't eviscerate it. Don't remove it from the history books. Confront it. And then when you forgive yourselves, we can go forward.
Wow. So, Yana, you heard what he said. White Christian women hate themselves. They can't forgive themselves of the racial past in America. I mean, do you hate yourself? This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And he is not he's not a Christian.
Oh, he's a pastor.
Well, a Christian would never say something like that. What does, okay, I'm not even from this country, but originally, right. But regardless, let's say a white lady who's been here for generations, what does it matter that her great, like from a Christian perspective, we're judged as individuals. Like, so for him to bring Christianity into it, that's actually conflating Christianity with Marxism, with this idea of
infiltration. Is what we're talking about. Absolutely. They have infiltrated every institution in America, the churches, the government. Marxism has infiltrated. You just education.
Yeah. I've said for a while now, it's the pundits, the politicians, the professors, the preachers, and the pastors that spew a whole lot of putrid foolishness. Michael Eric Dyson, right? Mm-hmm. He can quote 2 Chronicles 7, and he makes it sound like he's so erudite and that, he knows the word. Okay, fine. I think
that the devil knows the Bible too.
I was going to say that same word says that, the Satan knows the word too. But nowhere does it make a distinction that because you're a white Christian versus a black Christian, that you have to forgive yourself for whatever he wants to come up with because he's a pastor. These are the same types of pastors and pundits and preachers, politicians and professors that will drive people to hell. Yeah. Okay. These are the same types. He's almost, I would say he's a blasphemer. Okay. If you want to use the scriptures or whatever, he's blaspheming. He's perverting the word. There's another P for the alliteration. He's perverting the word. He's perverting people's minds. And all of those women on that panel, they're giddy. Nobody is going to correct him. Nobody's going to challenge him because with this academic title, and he's a writer and he's a professor, he's one of their high priests. Okay. So he sits on the throne of whatever this Marxist mantle is. So he looks like he knows what he's talking about. You know what? I have to say this. I really do, in all humility, I'm going to humble myself, like he said in 2 Chronicles, in all humility, I hate having to call men bitches, but he is really one of them.
Yeah. And you just said one thing you said that was spot on. It's a perversion. Yeah. And we have said again on this show, it is an example of Satanism. Mm-hmm. Satanism is a perversion of Christ, a perversion of morality, a perversion of good. And everything we have talked about tonight in regards to the left and the things that they are trying to do to our institutions, to our Constitution, to our churches, is a perversion of it. It is Satanism. And this is what we've been talking about. And who was a Satanist? Karl Marx.
That's a good point because Satan wants to divide us.
Right.
And so when this so-called pastor is talking about race, when as Christians, we have to focus on spirit and not on body.
Right.
And so that's exactly what Marxists would do. They bring up this race, ethnicity, identity politics, and Satan wants to divide us. He doesn't like us being united.
Yeah. And guys, this is what we talk about across the board on our shows here. Poppin' Politics is just one show of many that we have on the Metro Conservative Media Network. So it's Poppin' Politics. Tomorrow night, we have Just the Guy show. Yep, there it is. We also have the All-American Talk Show. That's here on YouTube. And my show, the Christian Conservative with KJ. All YouTube channels. all talking conservative talk, but just from different angles. You know, for instance, we have Just the Guys. They come from a gentleman's point of view. We have KJ Conservative, my Christian conservative with KJ. I come from a biblical point of view. We have the All American Talk Show. I mean, the list goes on. You guys got to check out each show and subscribe, because we got to amplify this rallying call for freedom. All of these shows are about freedom. I want to acknowledge another super chatter tonight. So much. Yes, it's Chadwick with the $10 super chat. Says, well, Pastor Dyson, why don't we get back to the fact that you are married and trying to get the cheeks of another woman? Oh, he was trying to kiss cheeks, huh? Just stop it. LOL. Yeah, exactly. All right. So moving right along, still kind of keeping on the spew sound check. Oh, Michelle, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
Yes, Michelle Hayes with the $5 super chat. And I believe we have one more.
Again.
Stephen. Oh, you got an admirer, Steve. Yana says, like I said, Yana is sexy, spitting again. You're spitting all night. What's going on there? Spitting those facts. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much, Stephen.
And we got Kung Fu again coming up. Hey, Kung Fu.
Yes, and he's part of our Freedom Seekers Club. Says, I can't wait to be on. Oh, you want to be on our show? Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely check in with you about that. All right. Yeah, that's going to be something else we're going to implement. Coming up, we're going to start implementing call-ins as well for members. Yes.
You have to be a member. You have to subscribe and you have to be a member.
Yes. So we're going to have you where you can call in and give your feedback on a topic that we are discussing. And that will be for our members. So stay tuned as we implement that. Lots of new stuff coming up, guys, and certainly appreciate your support. All right. I still want to stay on the spew. This again is Sunny hosting, pushing this division. One thing I got to say, how could those women sit at the table and listen to her talk about white women?
I got a point about that. I want to bring up.
He sat there and said Christian white women were what did he say? They were guilty.
They have a guilt. They need to forgive themselves.
They need to forgive themselves for slavery. And they sat there.
My point about that.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so my point, I saw the movie Am I Racist?
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. But remember that I forget what they call it, where those two women go to the dinners.
We did it.
They have the dinners and they sit around and they tell these white women in their homes how racist they are and how privileged they are. That was basically what Michael Dyson was doing to those women on The View. And of course, Whoopi is there. She's chiming in on him. But all those white women, Sunny, she don't know what she is, whatever. But, they're taking it. It's like going into someone else's home and telling them, how their house, they don't like it. Their house is messy. They're not charitable, whatever the word you want to use, whatever description. But this is what they get away with based on skin color. So they don't see themselves as black supremacists, but they are on this mantle again. And they get to tell white people, white women, how bad they are, how evil they are, all of this nonsense. And then these people literally buy it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you do it. Sunny has compared white women to roaches.
Yes.
Now you have Michael Eric Dyson on there saying you guys are guilty of slavery and all this type of stuff. And they're laughing. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. If I was a white woman, I would never watch that show. And any other white women that I know as friends who champion this show, The View, I'd say you are insane. Something is wrong with you. You have a mental problem.
Absolutely.
Right. I don't understand it either. I've never, had this idea that I somehow have to see myself as different. But at the same time, I know what goes on in these weird white women's minds and this leftist, the ones that accept this kind of mentality. They're actually the ones that say, yes, we are colonizers and, we have to acknowledge that and all that stuff. They are actually racist. They're the ones who are the racist.
Now explain that a little bit. How are they racist?
Well, because they see other races, they see Black people as somehow, unfortunate. They have this idea of like the white savior complex. They feel like they need to go in and help, and they're the ones that push for this equity agenda. Because
now, let me ask you, so along the lines, just playing, I don't hate to say devil's advocate, but just playing opposites or whatever, their pushback would be, well, no, I'm not being racist, but I feel like my ancestors owned slaves, and because of years and years of white people getting privilege due to white privilege, I now have to atone for that.
So let me tell you what I did when I left the movies. After watching Am I Racist? I left the movies. I was sitting next to these two white guys, I think it was a father and a son. And so on my way down was this older white couple. So when I left the movies, I said, excuse me, can you pay me some reparations? I did. They fell out. They were like, oh, that was a good one. They fell out laughing. I mean, if you want to send some money my way, I'll take it. Like that guy in the movie did, I'll take it. But like Yana saying, these people, they are really the racists because they see Black people as poor and pathetic waifs. They don't see us as individuals.
You haven't answered my question though. What if they truly believe that because of their ancestors maybe having money and they truly believe in white privilege, they believe they have some privilege based off of their skin color, and so they feel like now they have to atone for that. They need to get
atone all you want, pour it all my way. I say pour it my way. Give me the bank account, open the wallet. I say, pour it my way. That's what I'm saying. Because I can't change your feelings. I can't even change your beliefs. But if you want to do that and you want to make alms and amends, pour it my way.
Is that racist, Yana?
I would say to them, stop thinking that you're better than everybody else. Like, I mean, I would actually call them out on their racism. Be like, what are you talking about? Like, why
put your money where your mouth is?
Why do you think that somehow because of your ancestry, like now you understand the dynamics of how everything works in society? And their attitude is actually hindering how a society can progress and be better, because they're perpetuating this idea that somehow Black people are inferior. So like they are.
But just like Matt Walsh, he didn't really try to persuade them, like, arguing. He actually had questions and made them think about some of the things that they said themselves. But again, put your money where your mouth is. I think I'm at the point, or maybe very close to it, where these are the kind of people I'm not even going to argue with them. I don't want to waste that energy and that time to argue with them. Now, if we want to sit down and have a discussion about some issues and things like that, and maybe we can persuade each other on some things, depending on what the issue is. But I'm not wasting the energy. I'm saying action speaks louder. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, we do want to acknowledge this super chatter. Kung Fu CK with the $2 super chat says, I want money from the Democrat Party. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of this, I've got to get to this next clip here. This is clip 7 of Sonny Smug hosting. Take a look here.
People in this country are so confused when they see people that look different. And of course, I may have features that look a little different because my mother is white, right? So it's not that hard to look like your mom.
No, of course.
And I think where I've come down on it is it's really nobody's business.
100%.
And I think I get to determine my identity. But I still think because of the founding of this country and because of the otherizing of people like myself, it's still going to always be an issue. I mean, I wrote a whole book about it, right? That is what my memoir in large part was about. It's just fascinating to me that people, rather than ask you so many more important questions, the question is, what are you?
Excuse me. Excuse me, Donna. I'm sick.
She keeps saying it's nobody's business, but she won't stop talking about it. Nobody cares. We're in 2024. Everybody knows that you're mixed. You say it every other day.
And the fact that she keeps saying that in America, people are not used to people who look different. What are you
look like an alien? What are you,
what
alien?
Are you talking about?
We're not used to all that weight you just lost from Ozempic, you popping down your mouth and those pills or injections you're getting, whatever. That's what we're not used to.
Let me tell you what that is.
Sorry, I just want to continue because I wasn't born here. I came here as a teenager. This is the country where people are the most accepting of different races because it's a melting pot. People from the rest of the world come here. We have people from every continent of the world live here. People are mixing, there's mixed children. It is not like that in the rest of the world. There are not as many countries like that. Right. In other countries, it is much more divided and we have much more homogenous societies, or we have countries where it's so like in the Latin American countries, actually, even though there are people from different races, but they don't mix and they don't interact as much as people in America do. So I hate when Americans talk talk shit about America. It's disgusting to me. You're destroying the reputation of your own country because you haven't even traveled. Really, you haven't experienced life in other countries. The types of racism that happens in other countries, you cannot compare to the stuff that goes on here. It's much, much worse everywhere else.
Yeah. I need something to settle my stomach. I need something. Anyway, let me tell you what that was. What we just saw. That was nothing but pure narcissism.
Yeah,
that's what that was. Narcissism couched in being a victim. That's what that was. She wants people to focus on her supposedly exotic looks. I don't give a damn. People don't care how you look, Sonny. Okay, whatever you look like, you look like. Many people look like their mom, their dad, their grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever. She wants people to focus on that. Who's your mom? Is your mom white or whatever she said? That's number one. Number two, I think, and I stopped long ago, okay? I stopped saying that there were many races when I learned that there really is only one human race. 99.999% of our DNA is the same. It may be different combinations of the chromosomes and things like that, but it is the same. So there's only one human race, okay? We have different ethnicities, we have different cultures, our skin, the melanin in our skin is different depending on where you live, where you grew up, whatever. But there's one human race, okay? Sonny, nobody cares. You want the attention. You want the focus on you. You are not that different. You're not that exotic. Yes, you're a beautiful woman under all of that damn pancake batter. She wears more makeup than we do, all three of us combined. Yeah, I mean, she does. All of that stuff, stop it. It's nothing but narcissism. You're only fooling the people who buy your propaganda because you do not fool Shelly E.
Yeah. And a lot of times we find it like this with these mixed race women. They always, I don't know if they didn't get enough attention from one of the races that were mixed in with them, but they always have this type of chip on their shoulder. Look at me. I'm Latina. I'm black. I'm white. Look at me. And it's like, nobody cares. It's like an inferiority complex.
I think there's nothing else to them. That's why.
Exactly.
And that's the only thing that they can present is look at me, look at my race, look at my ethnicity. They do not have anything else behind that.
Yeah. It's like the empty head. Remember when you were in high school, junior high, there were some pretty girls, but they were just empty heads. Right. They had beauty, but no brains, no depth to them. They were very superficial. This is a grown woman, got kids that are grown, and she's still superficial.
Yeah. Look at me. I mean, even Whoopi had to check her this week because she was like, she had to say, Sunny said something. They were talking about race again, and Sunny said, "Well, I'm the only multicultural woman at the table." It's like, oh my gosh, you are annoying. You are so annoying. She is the type of woman where I could see why men slap women around. All right. Yeah. Well, that's terrible. Right? I take that back. I take that back. We don't condone violence. We don't, but just not open hand, not closed. Do you want to acknowledge our super chatter? Steven. Oh, let's see what he has to say about you now, Yana. Sonny. Oh, now he's talking about Sonny. Sonny just talking, just saying stuff. Thank you so much, Steven, for your super chat. $2 super chat. Thank you. All right. So we are coming to the end of the night. Guys, if you haven't done so, check out our merch store. We have a merch store. You go to www.popandpoliticslive.com and click that shop button, and you'll see all of our merchandise. We have shirts, sweatshirts, we have mugs, all kinds of stuff for you guys to share your conservative message. And you have some are subtle, some are loud, but definitely there's something there for everyone to kind of just support what you believe in. And it does go a long way in supporting our channel. All right. One more. We do have one more super chat. Oh, wow.
It'll come back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We do have one more super chat. Chadwick says, okay, fine. I'll say it since no one else will. The reason mixed women want to be Black so much is because the Black culture is accepting of mediocrity. Other cultures have this thing called shame. Wow.
Okay, that's interesting.
$10 super chat. Thank you, Chadwick. LAPD SWAT with the $5 super chat.
Thank you, LA.
Says, do you think that NATO will have pushed this war with the missiles attacks? I think he's talking about
the Chinese when they launched the missile.
Is that what he's talking about? I thought you would. Do you think that NATO will have pushed this?
Well, let us know what you're talking about, LA.
With the
which war? Because we're dealing with a few wars.
Yeah, right.
So
let us know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, the NATO.
Ukraine. I think he's talking about Ukraine. Okay. So do you think that NATO will have pushed this war with missiles attacks? Do we believe that they'll have missiles attacking with you in Ukraine?
Or if Ukraine had joined NATO?
Russia, maybe, because I think there was some news that they will allow missiles to go into Russia.
LA, finish commenting and we'll follow up after the show.
That's
some comments.
A whole other topic that we can discuss. There's still a lot to. Yes, he's saying Russia. Yeah. So, I've been saying that I think America, United States of America, and Russia need to band together. They have to put aside whatever differences they have. They need to end the war in Ukraine, have a compromise, and work together against the globalists.
Well, we were on that path when Reagan said, tear down this wall. We were on that path when Russia, Soviet Union, got rid of communism. We were on that path. The United States and Russia had been allies before, is what I'm saying. We were on that path, and again, it got derailed.
Right.
Ukraine is just a more recent example.
It got derailed, I would say, because, again, the Western forces were not okay with Russia continuing to be powerful. And the deep state, the globalists, they were sponsoring terrorists inside Russia. They wanted to break Russia apart through ethnic war within Russia, and also expansion of NATO on the borders of Russia. So you can't blame Russia for...
No, I'm not blaming. I'm just saying we were on that path, and there was all kinds of things that derailed. I'm saying we...
And yes, Russia was willing to accept, the Western ideals.
Right.
I lived through that. We were very, very happy to connect with the West. But now I'm hopeful that President Trump will will bring us back together, and will be a much stronger force,
right?
With the United States and Russia working together against all these globalist Marxist threats around the world.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely something to contend with, and we will watch the UN thing also. Guys, we also wanted to let you know we'll be in DC this weekend. We are going to the Fight for Freedom, Health Freedom, Rally for the Republic, I believe. Yeah, we're going to that. So hopefully we'll see some of your sweet faces there. We'll be down there. We went to the Defeat the Mandates a couple of years ago. And so we're going back for this. It looks like RFK Jr. is going to be there, Joe Rogan, Eric Weinstein, I believe, a couple other people, a lot of people. Yeah.
So Rescue the Republic.
Rescue the Republic.
Washington, D.C.
You can Google
this
it.
Sunday. Starts at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. So hopefully we'll broadcast from there as well. So hoping to see some of you guys down there, or tuning in while we broadcast live from the Rescue the Republic. Rescue the Republic show. Rally. Okay. All right. We had some other stuff to get to, but I don't think
the one with the baby.
We have the clip with that. We have
with
another.
The mother.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Developing off the top at 5, new video shows the moments that prompted an hours-long search for a missing child. Witnesses rush to help when a toddler is allegedly thrown from a vehicle. It is what happened next that put police on alert. Good evening. I'm Jim Barry.
And I'm Naja Sherman. Elliot Rodriguez and Lauren Pastrana are off. That toddler, thankfully, was found late this afternoon, and now her mother is in custody. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch joins us live from Hialeah Police Headquarters. He has the latest developments. Peter.
Well, Naja and Jim, Hialeah police told us they were initially very concerned because they knew the child was injured, and they said the mother did not try and get any help for her. And they were particularly concerned after seeing this video.
Hey, are you okay?
A surveillance camera from a business captures some troubling images. A Good Samaritan cradles and talks to 1-year-old Cassidy Mills, who she finds alone, crying, and injured at 8:30 Thursday night. It happens at Northwest 54th Street and 37th Avenue in Hialeah. She tries to call 911.
Hello?
Then a confrontation happens when police say the child's mother, Deshae Mills, drives up and forcibly takes her daughter as a Good Samaritan is on the phone with a 911 dispatcher.
Hello, I need you to come. I'm the mama. Okay, I'm not giving you this baby. That is my baby. Okay, but oh my God, I need you guys to come.
Police responded after receiving this disturbing call.
We received a call that a 1-year-old child was thrown from a moving vehicle. The witness who observed it was behind them. She saw a child on the ground, physically hurt. She picked up the child. She moved to a safer location off the road where she attempted to help her and call 911.
The mother leaves with her daughter, and this leads to a missing child alert from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and a plea for help finding the child in a pajama shirt and shorts with braided hair. It scrapes on her forehead and above her left eye. They also appeal for help finding the 29-year-old mother and her 2016 red Chevrolet Malibu that they were in. They checked her last known address here in Northwest Miami-Dade. After a 15-hour search, police say they located the mother in Miramar and her daughter Cassidy in Opelika. The child was taken to a hospital.
This will not be tolerated in our city.
Now, I spoke with the mother's grandparents, and they told me little Cassidy was going to be okay. They said that the mother had never done anything like this before. Hialeah police say charges that could include child neglect and abuse are pending against the mother. At this point, it is not clear who threw that little girl from the car.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, not much to say. Of course, we know it's awful, but I used to not be against forced sterilization. I think I am now. And then I wanted to comment, they said, whatever, the grandparents said that the mother has never done this before. 2 things about that. No, she's done this before. Mom has done something before. Maybe in her upbringing, in her experience, this may have been considered normal. So they didn't know, or they chose not to report it. And number 2, because something has not been known to CPS, it just means that it hasn't been reported, or CPS has not even fully investigated it. So I think there's a lot of CYAing going on with this little girl. I do hope that she is placed safely with a loving adoptive family. And I hope that her mother never gets her back.
I mean, I just have to say about this that we do have good people in our community, that woman that helped the girl originally, the Good Samaritan lady. Then we have the police responding. So, this kind of stuff unfortunately happens everywhere in the world. And yes, we need to catch it, acknowledge it, and stop it. And so this is what they did. We have to protect our children in all sorts of ways.
Yeah. We'll end on that note. I pray God places a hedge of protection around all the children that are, in danger or a threat of danger all over America. I pray God places a hedge of protection around them. And then also I pray that God protects President Trump. He put out an interview today also talking about how he sees that he's in danger. He said that there are probably threats that haven't even been made public yet that he's aware of.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I pray God puts a hedge of protection around President Trump, and thy will be done as far as this election is concerned. I do want to acknowledge one final super chatter tonight. We have, let's see here. Chadwick says all women are not meant to be mothers. Yeah,
I agree. All men are not meant to be fathers. Exactly. It takes 2. I think someone said, where is the father? That's a good question. And even if the father is there, because children are not only going to be with their fathers, not only going to be with their mothers, they're going to spend time with each, even if you're married in the same house. So mom is considered a caretaker. She has custody, and so does dad. But this abuse has gone on before. I would bet you $9 out of 10 that this has happened before.
Yeah. Do want to acknowledge another super chatter here. Dennis Betzel, the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Says giving thanks. Oh, I didn't. Giving thanks, the lady that saved that child.
Exactly. That's what we need to focus on. And I just want to say, we should not be thinking so much about the negatives in our society. Yes, it happens, but also it's not really good for our psyche, for what we want the society to be. So focus on the positive, on the good things that people do every day, and keep encouraging that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
But the reality is that you do have some people who are abused, children. And let me say this. I'm sorry, we're finishing. Let me say this. Most children who are abused, most of the abuse comes from their caretakers and people who know them, family members primarily, parents primarily. So it's not the stranger danger. It's people who have access to the child consistently. So it's there are known group or known people, if you will, primarily 9 times out of 10, over 90% of abused children are abused by people who take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like you said, we want to focus on the good as well in the community. I mean, a lot of stuff you see on social media, on the news, it makes you think that a lot of this is happening. I believe more than it probably is. And then also with the antagonizing and division between mothers and fathers, men and women. We need to start looking for more solution-oriented things instead of always blaming mother, blaming father. Where's the mother? Where's the father? There's a breakdown somewhere. I don't know. I think it's blame on everyone involved in that child's life from birth on up. Bears some responsibility. And so we have to just continue to pray for these individuals and ask the angels to surround them and comfort them and protect them. So with that, we are at the end of our time. Don't forget to check out Just the Guys show tomorrow night on Just the Guys podcast channel and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose.
Bye.
Good night.
Good to see you all again. Bye.